Good morning. I'm glad you're here. Well, it's beginning to look a lot like and the perennial argument has begun. The so-called war on Christmas. The so-called culture war. Now, to be sure, we live in a day and an age that is extremely uncomfortable with the very clear, the very pointed, the very challenging message of the Christian faith. By the way, folks, if the Christian faith to you isn't clear, pointed, and challenging, chances are you've bought a pair of oxen and you can't come to the banquet. It's hard stuff. And it's hard stuff because I don't want to say it's unbelievable stuff, but it is incredible. It's an incredible story. It's an incredible story. It's a story that says that humanity has existed from the beginning, and in the early days of the creation of mankind chose wrongly. And the consequences of that free choice, please underline the word free choice. Will you do that for me? The consequences of that free choice is the introduction of mortality into the human race. The message of the Orthodox Christian faith, my friends, is this: you were not created to die. That's not your original intention. You were created for life because the one who breathed life into the human race is the source of life. He is life himself. And death is antithetical to his reality. But there's also something about mortality that is absolutely amazing. It is, now don't look at me that way. It is a gift. What? Yes. The gift of mortality is the unmistakable message, my brothers and sisters, that your suffering is not eternal. Your sin and your rebellion is not eternal. You are meant for life. And your rebellion and your sin are not meant for eternity. There's going to come an end to it. And it's a gift of God. It's the gift of God that we will have an end to this struggle. But the question is, will we know how to enter into rest? This is the message of the Christian faith as well. There is a way to enter into rest and to enter into that eternal life with joy and with preparation and with knowledge. But it's going to come through a very, very challenging path. Humanity, unable to fulfill and stay connected to life, gets disconnected from life and experiences mortality. So what does God do? God knows that we mortal humans cannot destroy mortality ourselves. We can't overcome it. So what does He do? He comes Himself. God, the creator of life, comes Himself. He comes among us as one of us. He willingly, as a free choice. Will you please underline that word, that phrase, free choice? You heard it before, didn't you? His free choice comes among us as one of us so that He can destroy mortality by His entering into death itself. I love what St. John Chrysostom says: hell swallowed a man and found God. It's the ultimate I've bit off more than I can chew moment. And when Christ destroys death by death, He ascends into heaven and sits at the right hand of God the Father, taking His physical body with Him, showing, brothers and sisters, that your destiny, your purpose, your intention of being here is to sit with God in eternity forever. That's your created destiny. That's what you were made for. That's what you were made to experience. Now, Father, how in the world does this have anything to do with Christmas and the cultural wars? Because, brothers and sisters, let me give you a little information. There has never been a day when the world was happy about this message. They used to kill us like they're doing now. Now, eventually, the message became so prevalent and so widespread that the entire Roman Empire had to bow and submit to the message of the Christian faith. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. Because all of a sudden the Christian message, they tried to tame it and domesticate it, and they failed miserably. At least in those of us who still dare to embrace this incredible message. I preach this way this morning, brothers and sisters, because we live in an age of amnesia. We live in an age of amnesia. Do you know that the modern experience of Christmas that you and I have grown up thinking is normal is only started in the 19th century? You realize that, right? This whole idea of the fat Santa Claus and 'twas the night before Christmas and all that stuff, this is less than 200 years old. For centuries, the Christian faith, in fact, I hate to break this to you, but in the West, the Nativity celebration was a minor feast. It was a minor feast. It wasn't the major feast. It was a minor feast in the West. The folks who started our precious United States, the Puritans, actually banned the celebration of Christmas in the early days of the colonies. They didn't do it. Said it was too Roman Catholic. Christ Mass. We don't want any of that Mass stuff. But the tradition of understanding the Feast of the Nativity is not in this quasi anti-Christian celebration that we experience today, where the idea is on consumption. The idea is on making sure you get to the store and buy all of the stuff. I never will forget opening all this stuff, and then 3 weeks later, my brother and I were wondering, that's not fun anymore. Let's don't play with that anymore. Did you know, I've already told you this, I'll tell you again, $70 billion is expected by American retailers to be returned after the Christmas holidays. $70 billion in gifts. Folks, if you're that bad at buying gifts, you should stop it. You ought to quit. Anything that you're that bad at, quit. Don't do it no more. And so the reality is this relatively recent bastardization of the Nativity celebration is not normal for we Orthodox Christians. We Orthodox Christians have a tradition that is much deeper, much longer, much more profound, where we celebrate the coming of the Messiah in preparation for His second coming. Because every wisdom, every spiritual discipline the church invites you to participate in out of your, here it comes again, free choice, out of your free choice, the church invites you to participate in the preparation of the Feast of the Nativity through fasting and through prayer and through church attendance. All of that discipline is meant to train you how to get ready for His second coming as you celebrate His first coming. All of the disciplines of the church are there for you to form you and to shape you into being a fitting habitation for God. And it's been that way since God scooted our mom and dad out of the garden to protect them from the tree of life. The church has meant to shape you and form you, and she gives you all the spiritual tools you will ever need to be formed, to be a fit habitation for God. You know, in just a little while, next Sunday, and then of course Monday, we'll celebrate Christmas. There's a great little song that I used to sing years ago called No Room. You remember that song? No room, only a manger of hay. No room, he is a stranger today. No room here in his world turned away. No room. And then it goes on to sing, have you any room for Jesus? He who bore your load of sin, as he knocks and asks admission, will you let him in? You were meant to be God's house, folks. You were meant to be the habitation for the uncreated God. That's what you were made for. Don't let the amnesia of the present age seep into your heart and rob you of the glory and majesty and cosmic wisdom that the church lays at your feet, so that you'll be prepared to celebrate his first coming, completely prepared for his second coming. All of this is gifted to you today, laid at your feet, waiting for your free choice to take it up and be orthodox on purpose. Amen.